This is a podcast about natural law and consciousness. Today we're going to look at the Indian Vedic chakra system. Now, using the principle of correspondence, as above, so below, we can attribute planets to different qualities within ourselves. There are 7 objects seen in the night sky other than the stars. They are the Sun, Mercury, Venus, the Moon, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. Now, in the ancient world, these were considered as gods. There are 7 chakras in the human body. They are spinning vortexes of energy. And we can correspond the planets and heavenly objects with those chakras. These different upwellings of energy are from glands within the body. Therefore, the qualities of the Zodiac are the qualities that need to be developed. We need to develop these spiritual qualities within ourselves. The universe is self-similar across scales, which is to say, as above, so below. And this is a Hermetic principle. So, the microcosm reflects the macrocosm. The small reflects the big. The universe is comprised of little tiny bits, and in their entirety is contained within all those little bits. And this is a holographic way that nature works, the holographic nature of reality. We live in a holographic reality in which the very tiny microcosm is reflected in the macrocosm. We're rediscovering the holographic fractal principles that underlie reality through quantum physics. According to the principle of correspondence, the planets relate to the human chakras. These upwellings of energy within our body reflect various aspects of the psyche. They are gauges of health or disease, corresponding to aspects of personality. The enlightened ancients did not worship these external planetary bodies as gods. However, as tradition evolved, it has devolved from its original intent. But originally they were always aspects of the personality. The truth that underlies these different religious traditions is always about the self, gnosis, and it's an aspect of our deeper motivations as individuals and as a species. The ancients understood this well, and they symbolized it by deifying these planets as gods. Now, this is an aspect of the principle of correspondence. In ancient times, Saturn was called the inhibitor or the disciplinarian. When we are out of balance, Saturn corrects this imbalance. The law is associated with the Saturnian cult. Judges wear black robes. And Saturn was considered the king of the planets on top of the hierarchy. This goes way back into the ancient world, where the priests wore black, the priests of Saturn, or El. Saturn, which relates to the base chakra, this is called the Muladhara chakra, is at the base of the spine, at the root of the spinal column. The color of the Muladhara chakra is red. The base chakra is associated with base consciousness, is signified by a square or a right angle. This is instinctual behavior, fight or flight, the R complex. It's a combative consciousness, and a deficient state of awareness. The controller aspects correspond to something reactively, and there is a need to control. Saturn is a strong hand with a masculine energy that corresponds with the left hemisphere of the brain. Its shape is a square. It's a symbol of base consciousness. There wouldn't be any survival in the physical world without the base consciousness, without the fight or flight mentality. It's a motivation to physically stay alive in this world. The drive includes motor skills and the need for food. In addition, base consciousness is necessary when attacked by predators or in a dangerous environment, the fight or flight instinct. But the idea is to transcend this, to continually raise our energy, to rule over ourselves through higher aspects of the personality, the energies of the higher chakras. But as a species, as humanity collectively, we've been trapped in this lower base state of consciousness, and the Muladhara chakra. This is the square at a 90-degree angle. It's also a builder's tool. It represents base consciousness. We must raise above our base consciousness, our instincts, leave the square and go towards the complexities of compassion and higher consciousness. The next chakra rising up from the base of the spine is Jupiter. Jupiter is a planet that corresponds with desire, sexual energy in its lower aspect, as well as the desire to attain higher knowledge, the desire for self-improvement and spiritual development. Jupiter corresponds with the sacral or genital chakra, called the Svadhisthana chakra, corresponding to the shape of a crescent moon, and its color is orange. I hope you've figured out by now that the order of the chakras also corresponds to the colors of the rainbow: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. In that order. They also correspond to the chakras. Moving up, the next chakra is Mars. Mars is the god of war in mythology. It corresponds to the solar plexus chakra. The solar plexus is near the diaphragm, the guts. This chakra represents willpower, courage, conquering others, and warfare. In the Vedic tradition, this chakra was called the Manipura chakra, and its color is yellow. In the Vedic tradition of the Indus Valley, India, it corresponds to the masculine planet of Mars. The Manipura chakra is about getting things done, not just talking about it or thinking about it. And this is the highest of the lowest chakras. They're grouped in 3 at the bottom, the heart, and 3 higher chakras. So this is the most important of the lower chakras. It's when we get us to activate ourselves, to put our thoughts and feelings and emotions into action. We activate ourselves when we act. The higher chakras must rule this chakra for us to take proper action in the world. Unless we use our willpower to get things done, nothing changes. But unfortunately, few people have activated the will centers within themselves. The next chakra is the middle. It's the balance point. It's the Anahata or heart chakra. The Anahata chakra is the Earth-Moon system. Those two are taken together. It's a place to learn about compassion, natural law, and true care. It would be best if you just cared enough to affect change in the world, to motivate other people to evolve into higher states of awareness and consciousness. We're here to learn. We learn the dynamics of true care and understand that as one suffers, all suffer. This chakra is associated with the color green. Green is in the middle of the visible spectrum of light. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. It represents meditation and balance. It represents love, tied to the concept of care. It's the balance between the left and the right hemispheres of the brain. It's the color of nature, green, and the color of the sacred feminine forces in nature. The heart is a balance. It's a fulcrum point between two opposite extremes. How do we need to change for care to develop, to make significant change come about? We must come out of a purely left brain or male-dominated system of control and into our hearts. We must come from hierarchy, compartmentalization, and erosion of rights and freedoms into a balanced, holistic society that reintegrates the sacred feminine. We need to respect natural law and freedom and live it. But to do this, we must connect with our hearts, our heart chakra. The earth is the heart chakra of the solar system, the midpoint of the visible planets. Now you may have realized that we're working from the outer visible planets towards the inner. The outer planet, Saturn, the furthest that's visible with the naked eye, has a 50-year orbit around the Sun. It's slow moving. As we move closer towards the Sun in the order of the planets, they get faster in their rotation around the Sun. Venus is the throat chakra. This is the Vishuddha chakra, and it corresponds to the planet Venus. This is the speech center, the throat, our vocal cords. This chakra opens ourselves up to higher awareness and knowledge and creativity. It corresponds with the color blue, and this corresponds to the brain's right hemisphere. This is how we use our voice, what we talk about, what kind of things concern us, how we express ourselves through words. Now, do we express ourselves in an honest way? A way that is in correspondence with natural law? Or do we use our voice in frivolous ways? Gossip, nonsense? Are we vain, concerned about sports, celebrity gossip, and gossiping about our friends? This is about how we use our voice. It is about how we are trying to get our messages across. And this is what matters. Now we must care enough to use our voice for things that matter. Many people know what's happening in the world but don't activate themselves through the heart chakra and talk about it. Cowardice. The heart chakra, the emotions, combined with the solar plexus, these must be activated together, moving up with knowledge, moving down, and expressed through the voice. The earth heart chakra and the Mars solar plexus chakra must be brought together to activate Venus, the voice chakra. Mercury is the fastest moving of all the planets, and in Greek mythology it was considered the messenger of the god Hermes. Mercury is the third eye chakra in the crown. The third eye is called the Ajna chakra, and its color is purple. The Ajna chakra balances the brain hemispheres. It's in the middle, and in activating the pineal gland in the center of the hemispheres of the brain. This represents awakening to true knowledge, to self-knowledge, how the self operates in the physical world. The Ajna chakra is about truth in this reality. The planet Mercury, or Hermes, is the messenger of the gods. Mercury, the closest planet to the Sun, hence the messenger. When something is described as mercurial, it represents having higher-minded topics. It is very cerebral. It is to do with the mind, our thoughts, and what we spend our mental energy in pursuit of. Are we pursuing the truth? Or are we concerned about memorizing statistics from the football season? Unfortunately, many people have brilliant minds, but they use their minds for nonsense and trivia. They're not spending their time on anything bettering themselves or for the betterment of humanity. They're not thinking about the big picture. They focus on the trees instead of pulling back and seeing the forest. So a person with a tiny area of specialization does not have access to the energy of the Ajna chakra. This chakra is about holistic knowledge, not about left brain logical knowledge. Holistic knowledge combines the logical and the creative or intuitive hemispheres of the brain, merging them together in the chemical wedding. The chemical wedding is the merger between the left and right aspects of our consciousness. The planet Mercury represents the magical qualities of the individual and knowledge in a holistic sense. The Sun. In Vedic tradition, the crown chakra, the Sun, is the light. It is the savior called the Sahasrara chakra. This is a connection to oneness. It is cosmic consciousness. Christ consciousness. Christ is associated with the sun. It's a symbol of God's Son. It represents coming into the light of one's true nature and understanding that we are all one. Not just with everyone else, but with everything. We are not just the body and the mind, experiencing the body and the mind. We are a spiritual being having a physical experience, not vice versa. Once we connect with our spirit, we cannot be controlled, which is what the world's dominators and the dark occultists do not want. Now, it would only take a handful of people to understand truth, to take over the reins, to take back control of this planet. So we need to educate people, put this knowledge out into the world until it becomes part of collective consciousness. This truth needs to be known by everyone. Now, people who think this is not the case are the same people who think a mystical savior will magically descend from the clouds and save us all. Spaceship Jesus. But it's up to us, individually, one and all, to do the work. But unfortunately, people have abdicated. This abdication is one of the most potent weapons. It's continually dangled in front of us like a carrot by the elite who want us to surrender our responsibilities, to pass the buck, not to take responsibility and not to take action in the world, not to speak our truth. Dark occultists work with system dynamics. They do not think of people as individuals. They think of the whole culture collectively. a society like a petri dish. A petri dish is called a culture. It has billions of cells in that dish. So the occultists work on the whole petri dish, the billions of people. And what they do affects everyone. The elites don't think in terms of individual people. The extraordinary human beings that make up of humanity with unique talents and abilities. They think of the world's population as one consciousness to be controlled. The elites are successful in what they do. They're successful because they use system dynamics. And the bulk of humanity needs to raise in consciousness to be evolved. Not just thinking about things, but doing. The enemy or the opponent, the elitists playing on the other side of the chessboard, currently is winning. They're winning because they know this information. They know these aspects of consciousness. And they can only do what they do because they have this knowledge. Now, there are no shortcuts to self-knowledge. It's actually hard work. But most people are too lazy to make the first beginning. So the elitists rely on this fact that people are essentially lazy and aren't working on themselves. People must do their work for themselves. And this comes from care. They must care enough to do the work, to make positive, real change in society, and educate others with truth of self-knowledge and natural law. So this discussion today, podcast on the Vedic chakra system, it's only an introduction. This is a vast topic and takes a lifetime of study. So I would hope that people would go out and research this on their own.